Hi, this is Jim Fisher with PC Mag. I am here at the Javits Center at the Photo Plus show in New York with the Sony a7R Mark III. This is without a doubt the hottest camera here at the show. It's a 42 megapixel full frame, the same sensors as the previous generation, but everything else is improved. Better autofocus system, so it shoots at 10 frames per second. New circuitry, so you get 14 stops of dynamic range from shooting uncompressed RAW files. It's got dual memory card slots, one of which is UHS 2. It uses the larger capacity battery that was introduced with the A9. It's got a multitude of new ports, including USB-C, micro HDMI, micro USB 2.0, PC sync, microphone, and headphone. Shoots 4K video. It has some new video features as well. It shoots Sony's hybrid log gamma for HDR video, so you can record in HDR and take the footage right to a Sony television without having to grade the HDR footage. It also shoots S-Log 3 if you're a pro videographer and you want to shoot flat footage to grade, and I believe that has 14 stops of dynamic range. Despite all these new features, the a7R III is priced at $3,200, which is the same price the a7R II was when it was introduced, and the same price as the Nikon D850, which is probably the closest SLR out there in functionality. They both have high-resolution sensors. This shoots a little bit faster. Like I said, 10 frames per second with subject tracking. And if you want a high-resolution, high-speed camera with a modern lens system, the E-mount system may not be as vast as Canon or Nikon, but it continues to grow. The newest lens is the 24 to 105 millimeter Gf4 Constant. It's optically stabilized and works with the in-body stabilization in the camera for even steadier shots. The lens is $1,300, which is a little high, you know, for an f4 constant, but it's got a nice zoom range, and Sony says it's going to be very, very high optical quality, even toward the edges of the frame at f4 throughout the range. I got to shoot with the lens a little bit last night, but I haven't had a chance to look at my images yet. Those are going to be coming to a store in PC Mag probably next week. Other new features of the a7R Mark III include a touchscreen. It's the same tilting LCD as before, but now it's touch sensitive. So you can tap to focus. When you're recording video, you can tap and change have the autofocus rack for you, things like that. Even though the a7R III uses the same chassis as the a7R II, there are some new additions, including a focus joystick. It's got a better EVF than the a7R Mark II. It uses the same EVF as the A9, a 3.7 million dot OLED that has a higher magnification than the previous a7R Mark II. One thing that's missing from the A9 is the drive mode dial here. So you have to go into this button here to change your frames per second rate from single drive to high, which is 8 frames per second, or high plus, which is 10 frames a second. I would have liked to see that dial included with this camera, but I guess there's always room for an A9R at some point.